Guys, I got admission to ISB's PGP, that is a 1 year full time MBA program, and also to IIM Ahmedabad's PGPX, that is also their 1 year full time MBA program. Both the programs have a minimum work ex requirement. ISB has a 2 year minimum work ex requirement, and IIM Ahmedabad has a 4 year work ex requirement. I had also applied to IIM Bangalore and Calcutta as well for their 1 year full time MBA programs. I got waitlisted by IIM Bangalore, and I did not attend IIM Calcutta's interview. I did get shortlisted. Um, and I did not apply to foreign B schools, mainly because of visa issues that were going on and COVID. So I saw many people, many Indians actually returning home after their MBA. So I decided that I'll pursue it from India itself. Now, how did I go about this journey, and how I was successful in converting these applications? So it's a 3-step process. Number one is your GMAT preparation. You need to have a valid GMAT score. I have made a video about how I got a 740 GMAT score. You might want to check that out. Then comes the application process. The application consists of your resume, basically your resume, your essays, 2 or 3 essays, and finally your letter of recommendations, and finally your interview if you are shortlisted, that is. So how I approached this process is, number one, I focused on GMAT alone at first, because I wanted to have a good decent score to maximize my chances. And no matter what anyone says, a higher GMAT always helps. Obviously there will be cases who, people who have a high GMAT score and still could not convert. There will be cases people with low GMAT score but still converted. But on an average, a higher GMAT score always helps. So I focused solely on GMAT in the starting, and after I got a good score, only after then I started researching and started working on the other parts of the process, that is the application and essay. So it's better to devote yourself to GMAT. Once you get a good enough score, only then move forward. That was my approach. Then once GMAT is done, then you have a you have a 3-layered plan. Number one, you need to research about the schools that you are targeting for, and in that research, you can talk to alumni, you can talk to your friends, your seniors, juniors, batchmates from undergraduation, to understand first of all why MBA, and how MBA has helped them, or how an MBA could help you genuinely, and you can talk about the school that they belong to, and how that school how that school functions, what are the components of the program, what are the opportunities that are available on campus, and career opportunities in the future, alumni network, etc, etc. So it's a general research that you can do. Also, you can research about the kind of people these schools or these programs attract. So you can have a look at the class profiles of these schools, and you can judge whether you will be a good fit for the program or not. So for example, in IIMs, the 1 year MBA programs, so IIM Bangalore and Calcutta have a minimum of 5 years work ex requirement. Nonetheless, IIM A, B and C, all of them have an average work ex of around 8 to 9 years, and I have a work ex of a little less than 6 years, just because I have a 2-year gap. So I am closer to the average class profile at ISB, because ISB's work ex average is around 4 years. So that's one factor that I decided I used while deciding. And there can be several other factors, what kind of cohort you are looking to be a part of, So ISB has an extremely diverse cohort and a bigger cohort. IIMs also have diverse cohorts, but their cohorts are very small. So it's up to you, and there are senior people. The opportunities at campus also differ because of the kind of cohort, the kind of people that these campuses attract. So once you're done with this preliminary research, then you will go into actually making your resume, or starting with your essays, most importantly. So at this stage, I think some people, not some, many people utilize consultants, admission consultants. And from the feedback that I have received, I think in general people say that the consultants have really helped them. So the money that they spent did give them value. I did not personally hire any consultant for this process, because I had two good friends who were already done with their MBA from US, and one of those friends had also an admit from ISB, but he chose to go to the US. So he had some experience with applications and all that. So he helped me immensely in orienting me and in reviewing and editing my drafts. So in this phase, I think the most important step is to, number one, find people who can help you and who are experienced, who have proven their experience. And if you're not able to find such people, you don't know such people, then you can take the help of a professional admissions consultant. Most probably it will be worth it. And if you're going on your own, then it's better to always look at the sample essays, to understand what's the need of the B schools. So on the internet you can get a lot of sample essays that were accepted, essays that were rejected. So try to learn from those essays how to make stories and how to be impactful, how to bring out the best of your work experience. So this is the second step, application. Same story for LOR, nothing special about that. So once you're done with this, and this stage will require a lot of introspection on your side, on your part, because you will have to literally write down why you want to go for an MBA and why should the school take you, basically. And you will also have to write down your achievements in a way that make you stand out from the other applicants. So you will need to do a lot of introspection. What have you done in the past few years? What achievement have you what achievement can you portray or display, and in what way? And what are your motivations? What are your goals? Will the school be able to fulfill your goals? And what are your long-term goals? What is your long-term vision? So all these questions will, if you introspect deeply, you will get the answers, and then it will only be a matter of presentation or marketing yourself. So after this phase is over, you hope for the best, and you hope that the school shortlists you for an interview. And then for interview, since you would have already done this deep introspection, your preparation would be quite complete. So you have to understand why interviews are there. Interviews exist so that the admissions panel or the interview panel can actually verify your essays, your resume. What have you written in those essays? Does it make sense? Is it the same person? So whenever you will read somebody's resume or essay, you will form an image of that person, and you will have to, and during the interview you will see if this is the same person. So you can also go deep into the points that you have written in the essays or the resume, and so you should be able to defend them properly. You should be able to share your insights, your identification of problems and potential solutions that you have. So it becomes extremely important that you are well versed with what you have written in the essays and each and every point of your resume. And and then again, it comes down to basically presenting yourself. So working on your communication style, communication ability becomes extremely important in the interview, because sometimes what happens is that we can keep on rambling on about one or 2 points and miss the other points completely. So as an interviewer, you won't like this. So it's very important to be crisp, clear, concise, and impactful at the same time. So so you can follow some very common frameworks that exist. You can use them both in essays as well as interview. One of the well-known formats is known as STAR format: situation, task, action, and result. So you'll structure your points in a way that you talk about the context, you talk about the problem or the task, and you talk about the action that you did, and you talk about the results, what happened, and what are your key learnings from them. So if you are able to narrate your stories in this organized way, it is more impactful. And obviously you have to be extremely confident while you're appearing for the interview. So these are the big things that you might want to consider when you go on this journey. Specifically, I'll talk about the process of ISB and IMA at least. So the process of ISB was give your GMAT, submit your resume, submit 2 essays. One was on leadership and one was on your goals. Submit your LOR, then wait. If shortlisted, you'll be called in for an interview. The interview is taken by 2 or 3 alumni, and 1 member from placement committee, admissions committee is on the call, just observing you. So in ISB, interviews are on a global format, so only alumni take the interviews, and mostly the interview revolve around behavioral questions and questions and answers both are basically rooted in your application. No current affairs as such, maybe some questions about your industry or the kind of work that you have done, but no current affairs or GK as such, right? But coming to IIMs, IIM Ahmedabad had a slightly different process. They had asked for basically your work ex profile, achievements, etc., and then they had given a shortlist. Only the people who were shortlisted were asked to submit their essays and resume. So resume was a 1-pager standard resume, and there were 3 essays. One was on how do you handle volatile situations, one was on basically your achievements, etc., kind of a statement of purpose, and the third one was again goals and why, right? What's so special about you. And then so you were given only 3-4 days to submit your essays and resume, and after some more days you were called for interview. So IIM Ahmedabad में क्या होता है कि if you get the shortlist happens even before you submit the essay. So if you have got the shortlist, you are assured to give the interview. So essays and interview combined, unlike ISB. So yeah, my IIM Ahmedabad's interview experience was pretty good. The profs were really decent, and they talked to me professionally, made me comfortable as well. And the talk revolved more about my industry, the role of my organization, my role as such, and maybe a little less about the behavioral questioning. Then I also attended IIM Bangalore's process. So after they had only 1 SOP, statement of purpose, and LOR. They had 2 LORs. ISB had 1 LOR. IIM Ahmedabad had 0 LOR. Right. So IIM Bangalore. So I submitted the SOP with the GMAT score and LORs. Then I got shortlisted for the interview. Now on the interview day itself, you have to appear for a written ability aptitude test or something like that. It was an online thing. So you would be given a topic and you have to write a passage within the word limit within the given time. This passage was not at all discussed in my interview. Maybe some people might have discussed the topic, but many people for many people this is not the case. So my IIM Bangalore interview was pretty pretty non-standard, I would say. I might make a video entirely on it, but at the end of the day I got waitlisted, did not convert it. IIM Calcutta, I did not appear for the interview, I got shortlisted. IIM Calcutta's similarly had one SOP and one optional essay. You may want to write something, you may not, it was optional. And yeah, after the shortlist you just had to appear for the interview, no written ability test and anything like that. Difference between ISB and IIMs is that IIMs in India, the interviews are conducted by faculty, professors, whereas ISB interviews are conducted by alumni, which is the global standard. That's how global schools work. So interviews for IIMs, can be little bit tricky. It depends on the professor, so I might make a video separately for my IIM Bangalore interview, and why IIM interview is a different experience altogether. So yeah, thanks.